Thanks for tuning in, guys. Today we talk to a gunsmith. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm here with Matt Corey, who's a gunsmith, and I'm really excited to talk to him. This young man, very ambitious, well-spoken, and confident, so I'm looking forward to this conversation. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you making time for me and for this. This should be a really cool interview, and hopefully everybody who's listening picks up a few tidbits and stuff.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. So let's get into it. So tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for.
Yeah. So I am 23 years old. My career journey started actually at gunsmithing school that I started in 2019, went to Murray State College, and I was there for 2 years, and it was kind of, interrupted by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of college students experienced that abrupt interruption in 2020 during spring break. But so I graduated from there in 2021, and I've been working as a gunsmith since then. I've stayed in the industry. Outside of my career, I am married. I don't have any children yet. I got married in 2022. Of October 2022, and my wife Hannah, she's a redhead. She's very fiery.
Nice.
And we got a dog this last Christmas. Her name's Coco. Very classic dog name. She's a sweet little puppy. But yeah. And then I come from a pretty big family. There's 5 of us boys. We're all boy household. So my childhood was full of adventure, very wild.
Heck yeah. No, that's cool. So you're coming up on 3 years or so doing gunsmithing, if my math is correct. Cool.
Yep.
Tell me about how you heard about that and what made you want to get into that program.
Yeah, so when I was 15, I actually felt called by God to be in the gun industry. I wasn't sure what that was going to look like. I didn't know even where to start. My mom actually found Murray State College and encouraged me to apply to the gunsmithing program and said it would be a great start. So that's what I did. I applied, and after, I think I was 17 when I applied, because that's when I graduated. I graduated a little bit early.
Mm-hmm.
And I applied, got in. I decided to go a little bit of a different route. I wanted to get my prerequisite classes done ahead of time at community college, and I'd recommend that to anybody.
Okay.
If you're going into some 4-year college program or even a 2-year college program like I did, if you have prerequisites to take, go and take them at community college. Get them knocked out, ahead of time. You'll save yourself the money, and you'll just be thanking yourself later down the line.
Sure. So you got called, you felt like this was providential, God leading you to this career path when you were 15. Did you have any experience in or around firearms or building guns before you went to Murray State?
Very minimal, pretty much none. I had built one AR-15. I hadn't touched any manual machines yet. Hadn't started welding. I hadn't started any CNC work. I haven't touched any woodwork either. So I was very, very unequipped.
Sure.
Going in.
And all those skills which you have now, you learned in the 2 years at Murray State.
I would say a good bit of them, and then along the job, being immersed in the industry, just picking up things as I go, learning on the job quite a bit. And learning from Dave Greger, of course. He's the gunsmith that I work under at my current job, and he's been in the industry for a long time, 43 years, and his resume is speaks to itself. He was the gunsmith for SEAL Team 6 and for the DOJ for the FBI for HRT. So he's done it quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna ask about Dave here in a second. That's a good tee up. Going back though, so the gunsmithing program at Murray State are there other programs around the country that's doing that, or why settle on Murray State?
Yeah, so there's a couple offerings. There's Trinidad in Colorado. There's gunsmithing school in Pennsylvania. There's the Sonoran Desert Institute in Nevada. I believe there's one in California. I'm not sure which one that is called. And there might be one other, but the closest to me was Murray State College, and that was about 2 hours 15 minutes from where I lived at the time.
Okay. When you go through the program, is it just kind of a macro level gunsmithing, or are there specific options like I want to stick to long barrel rifles or pistols, or do you just kind of you graduate with a degree and your kind of broad knowledge of guns? Is that how it works?
So you do get the broad gun theory knowledge. Everybody takes that. Where you get to kind of shine or immerse yourself into what you like is during the repair class. During repair class in second year,
okay,
you can kind of navigate yourself through the stuff that you like and get to work on those guns specifically if you're able to have access to the guns that you want to work on. Of course, if you don't have a lot of options, you got to work with what you got.
Okay.
You don't get that opportunity as well. But most people, if they wanted to work on long guns for repair class, they worked on long guns for repair class. If they wanted to do shotguns, they did shotguns. So you got to kind of pick and choose and really build up your knowledge in that platform.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So you go through the program, you kind of maybe find your niche, what you're interested in. You graduate. What's the job market like? What opportunities are there? And then how do you go from having the degree to getting hired on with a company?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of different opportunities. Some are great, some are not so great. Coming straight out of gunsmithing school, most people, they actually had trouble finding work that they wanted to do or didn't have to relocate, or sometimes the pay wasn't as good. I was pretty fortunate being already located in the DFW area. I was pretty loaded with options for places I could apply to and work at. Some people weren't as fortunate, so maybe their only option was to work for the local gun shop down the road, or work for a mom and pop type shop. The other option was to start your own business too. That was what actually several different people did. They started their own gun shop, which was one cool part about the program. Was we took a class on how to start your own gun shop and how to navigate business expenses and how to do the proper paperwork and filing and stuff like that.
That was a required class for the program?
It was, yes.
Wow, that's cool. What is the average, and I know it's a very broad question, average entry level? You come out with a degree, you get set up. I know it probably runs a spectrum between mom and pop and big companies stuff. What's kind of the average entry level salary most people are kind of making coming out of school?
Coming out of school, from what I could see, most people were starting at $20 an hour. $18 to $20 an hour was kind of the start. For inflation, I'm sure it's come up a little bit. Not exactly sure what that number looks like, but guaranteed about $18 to $20 an hour starting.
Okay. And then as far as like opportunities for upward mobility or something, what can you say what company you're currently working for right now?
Yeah. So I'm currently working at U.S. Trinity Custom.
Okay. And then so you do that, been there for a couple years now. What kind of growth potential is there? Or if you wanted to, what would be the next step if you wanted to in your career in the gunsmithing industry?
Yeah. So if I were to stay and continue to work at my current company, I would eventually work myself to being the head gunsmith there.
Okay.
That was kind of, I believe, Jim Haltom, who's my boss, his idea was to bring in a younger gunsmith to learn under Dave Greger, and then take over when it was his time to retire.
How many gunsmiths does U.S. Trinity Customs employ? Is it just Dave and you right now, or are there others on the team?
Currently, it is Dave, me, and Brandon. So it's the three of us.
Okay. So let me ask you this: the training that you got at Murray State, if someone didn't want to commit to a 4-year degree, did you ever consider the military and using the training from the military MOS or job to get that? Do some guys do that instead of going to a formal college?
So this is the interesting thing. So part of the gunsmithing program, the Army Marksmanship Unit, the AMU, would come and interview certain people, and they wanted gunsmiths for that program because they built competition rifles and pistols, is my understanding of that. I didn't think to go the military route because at the time I was wanting to be more in like the weapons engineering side of things, more of the less use of the weapon, more building of the weapon.
Sure.
And I wasn't sure of the exact MOS. I know there's armors in the military.
Yeah.
But armors, their job is to swap parts. They know the theory of the firearm, but they're not capable of machining modifications or making their own parts for the gun. They're not capable of designing things or what's the word? I'm not saying that they're not capable, but that's not part of their job.
It sounds like based on Dave Greger's resume, it sounds like the military at the upper levels, they third party it and they hire out the modifications of their weapon systems. Is that correct?
That would be correct, because he went to gunsmithing school actually before he was selected for that position at the SEAL teams.
Okay. So he was probably a private contractor for the Navy then, I guess, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Man, that's cool. So Matt, walk me through what's an average day for you when you clock in every morning?
Yeah. So at U.S. Trinity, we're a little bit more relaxed, which is nice. So my typical schedule is 8 to 4, and I show up at work about 8 o'clock. I'll head to our break room and usually make a cup of coffee, and I will head to the back gunsmithing room, and a lot of times we'll have work orders ready to go on the gun safe, and those just are a slip of paper inside of a black and clear folder, and I can see what we got going on. If I have questions, I'll head up to the front offices and talk to the front people. They might have some more clarification on the expectations for the job that we're doing. And my day can look different every single day. We're working on 50 cal sometimes. We're working on miniguns sometimes. Sometimes we get just your normal run-of-the-mill paint job, or we're doing a custom 1911 build or 2011 build or AR build.
Very cool.
But yeah, every day is a little different, and always keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. What kind of future trends do you see the gunsmithing knowledge base being in more demand, or how do you see the trend moving in the industry?
Well, that's an interesting question. A lot of the industry right now is high level production, spit them out as fast as you can stuff. And that's been the trend for a little while. We're starting to see kind of more of a comeback of people wanting something a little bit more classy, a little bit more kind of like what their grandpa had or something like that.
Sure.
So we're seeing a lot of that come back right now, kind of the classics. We're seeing a lot of that, and everything always, it's like a 15-year cycle. That's how me and the other gunsmiths talk about it. You'll see something from 15 years ago starting to come back again, starting to get popular again. Right now, that's lever guns. Lever action guns are super popular right now, and people are sporting them out, making them all tactical. So the industry is kind of like that. It's like there's not always this new idea. It's just the polishing of something old coming back.
Yeah.
You'll see that quite often.
Yeah, that's interesting. What's the best part of your job?
The best part of my job, I would say it's just seeing new things all the time, constantly learning, constantly realizing that the more you start to know, the less you know. That part of the job is always intriguing and exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on the flip side, what do you think? What's the most challenging and or stressful part of what you do?
Yeah, those two go together for sure.
Yeah.
The expectation for near perfection is probably the most challenging part of the job. You know, you gotta work on something that could be as cheap as $100 or as something as expensive as $8,000.
Yeah.
And the expectation is that it looks near perfect to what the expectation the customer is wanting. And sometimes you got to be on your toes about, well, you did the best you could, but they just don't quite like the way it turned out, and they would rather have something a little bit different. So you got to go back and redo it all again and change it up. And
Yeah.
being flexible with what the customer wants or the customer's taste is also part of that stress. So meeting someone's expectations, but also being able to help navigate and guide that customer in the direction that you know is going to be more functional for them or more applicable.
Sure.
That's always a challenge as well. But definitely the stress of the expectation of perfection, that's always weighing on you.
Yeah, I feel like at that level, guys have they care a lot about their about their firearm. You know, it's almost like an extension of their body. So I can imagine, yeah, getting it right would be challenging. You know, so
Absolutely.
if you weren't doing this, Matt, weren't doing this career field, what would you be doing? What do you think?
Well, there's a couple of things I could see I could potentially be doing. Before this, I was working actually at Chick-fil-A before, and I could have seen myself going up into upper management there and
Okay.
working myself up in that company. Chick-fil-A is a great company. They really teach you hard work and a lot of leadership skills from a young age. I'm actually very thankful I worked there from when I was 15 to 19 is when I worked there, and it taught me a lot. So I could have seen myself, if I didn't go into the industry I went into, working myself up in that company.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Okay, so someone's listening in. You've piqued their interest. Man, I want to kind of keep looking into this. That might be something I want to do, or go get my schooling. What would you recommend the next steps be if someone's interested in gunsmithing?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is kind of the route I wish I took looking back a little bit now. A lot of the current industry relies heavily on some kind of CAD software.
Okay.
And that was one thing I really missed out on. I wish I um, did take early on. So like any community college, they offer some sort of 3D modeling classes or CAD classes where you can learn how to draw three-dimensionally on the computer and learn how to create your own models and designs. And I wish I had taken that because that would have been super beneficial for what I'm doing now.
How important? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry. No, go ahead.
And I was going to say, and then also taking some sort of gunsmithing course and learning the gun theory, learning how different firearms function and the full aspects of that. That's almost given. You need to have that if you're going to go into this industry.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed about people who really enjoy their job is they enjoy sharing that passion with people. You know, certainly in the fire service, that's the truth. Would you recommend, if you're interested, if you're a younger person interested, maybe going to your local gun shop and just talking to the gunsmith if there is one there? I feel like that
Totally.
might be helpful too, because those guys probably like to talk shop and everything.
Totally. And what's great about that is a lot of people that have been a gunsmith for 20 years or so, they've seen the different trends, they've seen what works, what doesn't work, and they can really help guide and steer you if that's a career path you're looking to take.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Yeah, that's great. So, okay. So kind of wrapping up, Matt, this is really, really cool information. You're 23, you've been married for a year, you got a dog, you got your career kind of starting up. A lot of life changes in the past 4 years for you. Is there anything that you've taken away where you're at in life? Any lessons worth noting that you want to share, or any advice you want to give to any young people, whether it's gunsmithing or not?
Yeah, totally. The biggest takeaway I could say is always ask somebody that's done it before you go and do it. That's one of the biggest things I've learned is if you have access or opportunity to talk to somebody that's been where you're at or been somewhere similar, always ask for advice. Don't be afraid to maybe ask the stupid question or what you thought was a stupid question.
Man, I think that's good advice for everything.
Yeah.
Even as a middle-aged person, that's great advice to hear. Do you listen to any books or read any books or podcasts? That's anything recently going on with you?
Totally. Let's see. I always peek in on Dave Ramsey. You know, he's definitely nothing to do with firearms, but I like to listen to some of his financial advice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For gun stuff, I watch a lot of different YouTube channels, and for machining tips and tricks, I watch a lot of Titans of CNC. I watch who else? There's one. What's his name? Machine Tech Tips. I'll watch him.
Okay.
There's a lot of different little machinist tricks that translate into the gunsmithing world that are super helpful. So I'm always looking to expand my knowledge on that. And for books, I always recommend the Kuhnhausen manuals. Any sort of military tech manual, if you're working on military firearms, is super, super helpful. And what else? Always peek at, manufacturers, tech manuals as well. Like there's could be little tips or tricks in there too that you can learn.
Interesting.
What else for reading? I read a little bit of John Maxwell here or there. A lot of his leadership and growth books I'll read. And what's another one? I'm trying to think. I think that's about all I got for right now.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. That's great. Well, I always like to leave. We kind of hit it earlier. Any advice or any last words? I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot on your plate. I really appreciate the time. Is there anything you want to say that I haven't asked you or that's been on your mind?
Let's see. Don't be afraid of hard work. Hard work will get you places, man.
That's good. It seems simple.
Yeah.
Simple. Yeah, Matt. Hey, man, I really appreciate your time. This is good stuff. Hopefully this resonates with some people and you've given them some action items, and just to really appreciate your time. Thanks for what you do and for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely, man. Have a good day. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. You
All
too.
right. See you. Bye. We're always on the hunt for guests who are passionate about what they do and want to talk about it. So if you think you'd be interested in coming on, or if you're curious about a profession and want to know more about it, hit us up. We'll do our best to accommodate. Our email is info@myjobpodcast.com. We look forward to connecting with you. Have a great day.